Who will the Monster Mile pick on today as we're getting ready for qualifying? Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying for the Dover 200 from Dover International Speedway on speed. An overcast day here in the Dover, Delaware area. Skies are a little gray, temperature 64 degrees. That overcast sky is not going to affect this racetrack. It's a concrete racing surface, so they talk about asphalt being sensitive to the sun. Concrete doesn't change as much. A full day here on speed. Make sure to keep it tuned in. Sprint Cup practice will follow our qualifying, then qualifying for the Sprint Cup Series at 3 o'clock. Trackside at 7, and we get things underway with the Camping World Truck Series setup presented by Polaris with Chris DeVoe at 8 o'clock, and the green flag will fall at 8:30 for the Dover 200. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip with you once again. Dover, the Monster Mile. Who will be claimed by this racetrack? Or, you know, last week it was Darlington for the Sprint Cup Series, and everyone was afraid of that racetrack. Is this a track to be feared in the Truck Series?
Oh, certainly. And you know what else is crazy? It's 10 in the morning here in Delaware. These guys just got out of bed. And you got to jump in your truck and go run basically the most exciting, the most thrilling lap you're going to run all season in the trucks. You know, we talk about the speed at Atlanta, and they run wide open around there. Well, you get your truck right, that's a fairly comfortable ride. But there's no way to describe Dover as comfortable.
Not at all. And you know, I've gone out here before practice, make a mock qualifying run, and be out of breath in 2 laps. So we're talking about 50 seconds, not even breathing. But we talk about the balance all the time between loose and tight, the back end going around the front end going towards the wall. This racetrack here, to me, if you're a little bit loose, Michael, it is so hard to run fast.
Oh, and you have to commit, Phil. That's the deal. You have to run down in the corner wide open so far and then land and then say, okay, what have I got now? You know, after the fact, you've got to make sure you sort through what you've got. This is school skipping stuff. Can you believe it? Friday morning, 10 a.m., we're here on Speed Live for the trucks at Dover. This is good stuff.
And yesterday afternoon we had practice for the Camping World Truck Series, and it wasn't such a good day for Ricky Carmichael in number 4. His Monster Energy Chevrolet caught a piece of lead, went through the front of the truck, and actually knocked the oil cooler off.
Sure. You can see the oil and stuff trailing from beneath that truck, the Monster Chevrolet. The guys you can see right here, just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they jump on this truck, they get a new engine prepared, a new pro motor prepared to go in there. You can see how much work that went into this thing, and they did not go to a backup truck. That Monster got hot.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? You go down to these turns at Dover, we talked about the speed, you hit a chunk of lead. Ricky's like, wow, what was that? Now all of a sudden I'm on fire. What's going on? Why am I on fire? And then they got into the garage area, got that truck tuned up, and he's going to have to go again.
It might only be 10 in the morning, but a couple guys on fire down on pit road are Ray Dunlap and Adam Alexander. Adam?
And our big story, as you guys talked about, is no doubt the situation with Ricky Carmichael, a driver that came into this race having recorded 4 consecutive top 15 finishes. After that incident on track yesterday, the crew went to work. They changed everything under the hood. You guys mentioned the engine, the entire electrical system has been replaced, but that took some time, meaning Ricky only got 16 laps in final practice yesterday afternoon. That could be a challenge today in the race because this is his first ever start here at Dover in a truck. Ray?
You know, Adam, it's hard to believe that Ron Hornaday was 28th in points after the Atlanta race. You've run all the way up to 4th. That's a pretty impressive, Ron. But how about Dover? How big of a race is this for this team?
Oh, I love this track. This is a big race for us. And Goodyear came with a different right side tire, and it took us a little bit to get used to it. So we made some changes, and we'll see what this Longhorn Chevrolet does this morning here.
Okay, we want to go back to Adam. I think you have caught up with Ricky Carmichael.
Indeed we have, Ray, and we talk about the difficulties yesterday for this race team. Only 16 laps in final practice. How much difficulty will that create for you today?
Well, a little more than I want to, but it is what it is, and unfortunate circumstance. All I know is I'm getting all my bad luck out of the way in car racing as quick as I can. Just hit a piece of lead, and obviously that was only four laps into the first practice, and missed all that practice and pretty much all the second practice. So we're really relying on our teammates' notes, which he was really fast yesterday. So we'll see what happens. I don't, you know, I need to be careful in qualifying because main thing is we need to be good in the race. So I'm really relying on this team and try to get this Monster Energy Chevrolet up front. That's our plan.
James Busher, the teammate for Ricky Carmichael. It was announced this week James will be full-time in the Camping World Truck Series throughout the remainder of 2010.
Thanks, Adam. And again, keep it locked into Speed today as we have a full day of action right here at Dover International Speedway. And again, capped off by the race, the Dover 200 at 8:30. Speed presentation of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Dover is brought to you by Camping World. Every new motorhome purchase is backed by 353 RV Assurance. Log on to campingworld.com/353RV for details. And by New Finish Cling Instant Detailer, the shine that sticks. Welcome back. First truck about to roll off pit road as we take a look at our point standings through 5 races in the Camping World Truck Series. Timothy Peters still holding on to the top spot after that big win to kick off the season at Daytona. But the gap got a lot smaller after last week, a little bit of a hiccup for Timothy Peters.
Yeah, after 2 races, if you thought Ron Hornaday couldn't win this championship, you were wrong. Because after a couple more, he's right up in the top 5.
He was 178 points out going into our last race, and you can see right here in 4th now, only 97 points behind. And big jump by Johnny Sauter by virtue of that big win at Kansas.
He jumped over his teammate, Matt Crafton. You know, Matt finished 2nd in the points a year ago, and now Johnny's up there ahead of Matt.
How about down towards the bottom? Ricky Carmichael, how impressive has he been here in his 2nd season? And Austin Dillon in his 1st season, coming off his career best finish at Kansas 6th.
Got some new names in the top 10, and the guy that everyone is chasing, Timothy Peters, is with Adam Alexander.
Rick, you mentioned Timothy Peters' problems at Kansas a couple of weeks ago, and that's your mulligan, I guess. It's out of the way, so now let's discuss going forward and how successful you've been over the years at this track.
I really love coming to Dover. Jeff Hensley has prepared us another great truck. The guys work hard week in and week out and do great in the pits during practice. So just a privilege to be behind this number 17 Toyota Tundra. Got Crescent Tools on board with us. We carry in the autism puzzle for Autism Speaks. Make sure everybody goes to autismspeaks.org and help raise awareness for that. Strutmasters.com back on board. Just really in a good situation. Tom DeLoach gave me an awesome opportunity, and life's good right now.
Closing in on the 1-year anniversary of Timothy Peters and Red Horse Racing. Ray?
Adam, up at the front of the grid, Taylor Malsom has his 56 truck here with new sponsorship on it. And check out this color. I'm not exactly, would you call this robin egg blue? Is that what it is?
Reminds me of one of your high school track outfits, actually. But no, it's good. Good cause on the truck. The ECF Foundation's really good. So please have them on the truck.
How hard is it, Taylor, to get psyched up to ready to go qualify here? I know it's quite a task.
It's hard, especially when the boss tells you just to hold it wide open. But I think they gave me a good truck for qualifying, which should be good.
Okay, good luck. And, of course, the boss is the number 18, and he was fast on the board all day yesterday, guys.
We'll see how Taylor fares as he climbs into his race truck. And on the racetrack now, Terry Jones, the first to put a qualifying mark up. You saw him get a little loose coming out of 4.
He was the first one to wiggle, too, exiting turn 4.
Yeah, his degree of difficulty is up quite a lot because being the first guy out on the track first thing in the morning, you never really know what you're going to get. The track's obviously going to be really fast because of the weather conditions, and I think that Terry will find there's grip there. He just got to make sure that he doesn't try to find too much grip.
A lot of times on racetracks, we see the line that everyone's going to run because it's darker, and that's kind of the preferred line. Here at Dover, the concrete racetrack, we're not seeing really a dark area down at the bottom, but that's where they want to run, right, Phil?
Yeah, they'll be right on the bottom of the racetrack now. We had a couple truck practices yesterday, but at the end of this day, when we get ready to start this race, we will have had all the cup practice, hour-and-a-half cup practice, the nationwide practices, as well as cup qualifying. So there'll be a lot more of that black rubber down there in the racetrack, and you can see a little bit of it right there. But the thing that some of the guys were telling me is that you could actually pass on the outside, and that's pretty much unheard of here early on with a very green racetrack.
Terry Jones comes off the racetrack again. He was the first one on the track in qualifying. 24.597 is the mark that he set on lap number 2. Mike Skinner, always great at qualifying, currently 10th in the points And we'll see how he does at Dover.
And
what, 50 times?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He was in the top 3 in both practices yesterday. And Phil, just standing up here, you watch these trucks dive down the corner, and Skinner looked like when he went into turn 3, he picked up speed. It didn't look like he slowed down at all. So I think he's got a good truck here. This will be a fast lap.
You do go downhill, but I don't know that you actually pick up speed, but it sure does look like.
Oh, it looks like visually when that thing gets in the corner, it just doesn't slow down at all.
Ray Dunlap.
Kyle Busch has jumped into his number 18, tightening down those belts, Kyle. I know it's a crazy lap here. What type of number are you shooting for in pole qualifying?
Somewhere below where we practiced yesterday. Track's a little cooler right now, so should be in good shape to run 80 or a 90, something like that. So if we can pick up the normal 3/10 you typically do, should be somewhere around there.
All right, and his 80 or 90 might be in a whole different second bracket than the other guys.
A different zip code, at least. I mean, he was extremely fast, 0.6 of a second faster than the field yesterday in practice.
Yeah, he was incredibly good. Everyone I talked to said, well, you know, he's in his own zip code, and then everyone else is racing for second. But if he picks up a couple 3/10 like he's talking about, then he will be very close to our all-time track record here, which was set by David Starr back in 2005 at a 22.846.
Check out Mario Gosselin. He's put together a solid start to this season. Tire Monkey on the side of that truck, tiremonkey.com. And what a beautiful truck, and what a great job Mario's done in that truck this year, Phil.
We're going to ride with that monkey, the Tire Monkey, tonight. He's going to have an onboard for this race, so be good to see what Mario's checking out.
And to get the perspective around this racetrack. It's hard. I mean, you guys talk about really the gumption that it takes to qualify here, because you have got to hold it flat-footed all the way around this mile track. And I'm sure it's tough to do.
And you have to be able to hold your breath for 25, 24 seconds.
And that Tire Monkey's thinking, I hope you know what you're doing, Mario, because it looks like we're going awful fast to me. And they are going awful fast. Second fastest there for Mario, 23.816.
And just to put that into perspective, 23.816. Kyle Busch just predicted or thought he might be able to run a 22.8 or 0.9. So maybe a second faster. We see Mario Gosselin go across the stripe a little bit faster on his second lap, 23.616. So he still holds on to that second spot of the 3 trucks that have been on the track.
Got an announcement with Tire Monkey later today. Stay tuned. Some good stuff.
Let's go back track side to Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, Eric Almirola is jumping in the number 51 truck. He is right behind Kyle Busch, and of course Kyle won a lot of races for Billy Ballou, and believe it or not, they were in this very same truck. Most of Kyle's wins came in chassis number 11. Eric, you know you got a good piece. How excited are you about tonight's race?
I'm really excited about it. Our Raceway Pharmaceuticals Toyota Tundra was really good in practice yesterday.
Oh!
We weren't as fast as Kyle on the short run, but it seemed like on a long run we could stay right there with him, maybe even be a little bit better than he was. So we're really excited about it. We feel like we got a really good truck for today.
Still chasing down that first win. Is tonight the night?
I hope so. You never know what could happen. This is one of my favorite racetracks, so I hope so.
Favorite racetrack and a favorite race truck. That could be a good combination tonight for Eric Almirola.
Talking about chasing.
Yeah, and Phil, remember what we said in the opening. You have to go down in the corner, wide open, and then find out what your truck's going to do. Ron found out that his was not going to stick, and he about crashed. That's as about out of shape as you could have a truck here at Dover and not crash it. Can he rebound on lap 2 and get a good time? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, jumps to second, just behind Mike Skinner at a 23.230, only 5/1000ths of a second behind. But, Michael, let's take a look back at what Ron Hornaday found when he got down to the corner.
This is all but a crash, but we saw him at Kansas do this and not crash, right?
That was a big time wiggle right there. You see him chase the truck up the hill. You see all the dust and everything that's up there. Here's another view. Just gets away from him, but a nice save. And we're used to seeing him make some nice saves by Ron Hornaday, and to come back with a good second lap too, because you know the next corner he went into, he said, what am I going to have now? Is it going to be loose like it was, or my air pressure going to build up enough to get me tight enough to get through this corner?
He had to reevaluate his whole situation for lap 2, and he came up just 100th of a second off the pole. So you know he's going to be strong when they race tonight, but you don't want to get one in qualifying trim much worse out of shape than that.
You know, I talked to Ron this morning. I said, you know, typically when you qualify here, you know, everything's going well. You do a mock run, you're pretty good, and then you come to qualify, and all of a sudden you're loose. I said, did you find that yesterday? He said, well, I was a little bit tight when I made my mock run, so I hope that's not the case, because we've loosened it up, and obviously the loosening it up worked.
Yeah.
Taylor Malsom on the racetrack now, 4th quickest on lap number 1 at 23.746. Again, only 5/1000ths of a second separating 1 and 2, Mike Skinner and Ron Hornaday, early in this qualifying session. We'll see how Taylor does on lap number 2. If he picks it up, he does just a bit, 23.624. That holds him in the 4th position of the 5 that have been on the racetrack. Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Dover continues right after these messages. Tonight, before NASCAR's Best Battle of the Monster Mile, it's time to get revved up for the ultimate Friday night house party. Tune in as Martin Truex Jr. and Jamie McMurray stop by NASCAR trackside, live from Dover. Again, that's tonight, 7 Eastern, only on Speed. Qualifying continues. The guy that everyone is chasing at this point is Mike Skinner, and he's with Adam Alexander.
Mike Skinner, quickest of the 5 trucks that have been on track. How'd you feel about your qualifying run?
I really feel good about our truck and our engine. Triad engine really ran good. Picked up 100 RPM from yesterday, and we just over-tightened the truck a little bit. You know, we were a little bit snug yesterday, and then they tightened it up a little bit on me, and we ran good. I think I'm really looking forward for the race. Our international trucks, Monaco RV's Tundra, has really been good right off the trailer. Been good all through all the practices, good in the mock-up runs, and we're not going to set on the pole with that run, but we're going to start somewhere up front. We're going to have a good day, I think.
Good luck, Mike.
Thank you.
Ray?
Adam, the paint on Johnny Sauter's number 13 is flat black, and lately it's just been flat fast. How good are you this weekend?
Pretty good. Just had a little bit of trouble yesterday in practice, and didn't get to do my qualifying run. But nonetheless, our in-country television Kurt Record Chevy is very comfortable, very fast on a long run. So just have a solid day, no mistakes. We'll be there at the end and see if we can't do it 2 in a row.
With no mock qualifying run, how hard do you push it on this one?
You pretty much only have one way to do it, and that's wide open, or at least try to. So this tire this year, Goodyear's brought, has been phenomenal. So the wear's been great. So I don't know if we can hold it wide open or not, but that's going to be the goal right now. And we'll know once when I leave pit road and go through 3 and 4, I'll know if I can do it or not.
All right, good luck to you. And guys, everybody in the garage talking about this new tire and how it may change the strategy in our race tonight. They can go a long, long time on a set of tires.
You know, we're used to seeing these tires, and with a green racetrack like the truck guys had yesterday, wear out in about 25 laps. And the more rubber's put down, the better that wear gets. But I talked to several guys that said they put over 50 laps on their tires and did not wear them out. So that really would bode well for this race.
And Mikey, I hear guys saying the tires are too good. I mean, how do you have a tire that's too good?
Well, they just stick so well, Rick. These guys are talking about, Phil, they're talking about going wide open around Dover. I mean, that's unheard of. Listen,
It's only a mile track, Michael.
I know, but it's making me crazy. we talk about track record speeds. These trucks have way less horsepower than they had when that track record was set. So where's that speed coming from? It's coming from right dead in the center of the turn. Right when you're wanting your truck to do the most, you know, head the other direction, that's when you're going absolutely the fastest. And so these tires are just constructed in a way that these guys are able to use their right foot a whole lot.
In a cup car, Mikey, when you go around this racetrack, where do you get out of the gas? I mean, because you're going to get out of the gas into the turns,
yeah,
correct?
Definitely. And like watching the 21 truck here as he dives down, Johnny Chapman dives down in the corner. About the time he leaves the straightaway and heads for the turn, when he makes that first initial left in a cup car, you're letting off the gas. You got all kinds of horsepower, the center of gravity.
And on the brake.
That's right. You're on the brakes, you're off the gas. These guys are trying to, are running around the same track in a whole different manner. You know, they're diving down in these corners. It's a thrill ride, Rick, when you leave the straightaway. Right here, when Johnny dives right there, it's just a thrill ride down into the corner, and they're doing it with their foot on the floor.
It's really like a roller coaster. When you leave the straightaway and dive off into these turns, both ends of the racetrack, it's like dropping out in a roller coaster.
Well, it's one ride that I'm sure I'm not going to be in line for.
Well, and later today, they're only going to do that 400 times. Twice a lap for 200 laps.
Yeah. Johnny Chapman on the racetrack. He is the 8th to qualify, and right now 8th quickest, 24.783 for Johnny Chapman. Again, everyone's chasing Mike Skinner. He has set the mark at 23.225. And Kyle Busch thinks he can top that. How about David Starr? Well, they're about to go out on the track. Stay with us. Tonight, Speed presents the life of Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator. Feared on the track and fearless behind the wheel. He was one of NASCAR's greatest champions. Don't miss the NASCAR Hall of Fame biography of Dale Earnhardt tonight at 11 p.m. exclusively on Speed. You guys were talking about roller coasters. Well, there's a roller coaster named after Dale Earnhardt at Carowinds. So
just outside of Charlotte, absolutely. Now there's some
2317 P1, bud.
That was Cowboy Starlin telling JB.
Got a little free, but it's all right.
Got a little free with a chuckle.
Johnny's voice was a little bit higher. But anyway, in that special tonight, the biography on Dale Earnhardt Sr., there's some never before seen footage of Dale Sr. And I tell you, those things have been terrific, those biographies on our 5 inductees.
So Johnny Benson comes off of the racetrack as the fastest truck, 23.178. That slots Ron Hornaday down into the 3rd position. Adam.
And Hornaday had quite a ride at Kansas, that unbelievable save late in the race, and he had a good save in qualifying. Knocked your shoes off, didn't it?
No, I was actually changing, and you guys ran me down, but
we appreciate your accommodations, okay?
That's what's so tough about this racetrack, But you know, we were just tight all day yesterday and everything, and then I just don't know. We never did a qualifying run. We did maybe too much air in the right side tires because the truck bounced a lot, and a little snug down in 1 and 2, and a little wheel to keep it on the bottom, and then the back end snapped loose. So pretty conservative on that qualifying run, but I think we'll be all right for the race. I mean, the long run Chevrolet is pretty good, so I think everybody's saying they're pretty good, so I don't know who's going to win.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Ray?
Adam, when we look at Matt Crafton's stats, they're usually either top 5s or 25ths when you come to Dover. What's it going to be tonight?
That's a good question. We've had last 3 years we had really good truck. Before that, I've had some horrible luck here. This place, I mean, it's so narrow down the straightaways. If there's a wreck, I mean, you can get caught up in stuff. I've blown right front tire twice here and you hit a ton, but this Menard Chevy will be good. Made a lot of changes. Found some big problem with the truck last night, so I'm very happy. I mean, at least I know I wouldn't lose, because yesterday, I mean, we were off in practice and we threw a bunch of stuff at it and weren't getting anywhere. These guys put their head down and dug all night and made a bunch of changes. Should be good. That's what me and Todd were just talking about, driving it off in the first corner on the first lap, because they just made a bunch of changes as well. So I have no idea what it's going to do, honestly.
And his Dover luck, guys, has been a lot like this season. He's had top 5s or a 25th or a 27th. That's the way it's gone for Team 88.
Ray, we just saw Kyle Busch come off of the racetrack. His qualifying mark was 23.006. He was looking to improve on his practice session from yesterday. He did just that, but only by about 91/100th of a second, but still the fastest on the racetrack. He is P1.
Yeah, he didn't get the lap I think that he wanted, but it looked like he had his hands full to me, Michael.
The truck was wiggling around a lot, and he did pick up on the second lap, which means he was able to push it a little harder on the second lap and get the speed out of it. This guy here, Eric Almirola, he talked in the interview a minute ago. He thinks he's got something he can race Kyle Busch with this afternoon. He's going to have to pick up the speed in qualifying if he wants to be starting anywhere near Kyle. He's about 1/4 of a second off Kyle, but felt like in the long run in the race, he might be someone that could contend.
Yeah, a couple 300ths of a second. He's real high down there in 3 and 4, though, and he's going to abort that second lap. He needed to pick up 2 or 300ths, and he would have gained about 2 or 3 spots, but didn't get it.
Look how close they are from second to 4th, 5th even.
A 23.22, a 23.23, and a 23.24. Yeah, watch this, Eric Almirola. Now this is going in turn 3, I believe. See, he's a little bit loose right there as he enters the corner. And now he has to chase it up the hill. He got loose again through the center.
And it convinced him that's all he really wanted.
That's all he wanted a part of.
We're seeing the guys get a little loose, getting into the turns and coming out of turn 4 especially. Qualifying continuing here on Speed. Sunday NASCAR race day takes on the Monster Mile. Denny Hamlin and Juan Pablo Montoya will join us live. Plus, the King Richard Petty stops by to talk about his upcoming Hall of Fame induction. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot, live from Dover Sunday, 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
You know, we talked earlier about the Hall of Fame and the fact that this has been such a big week for Charlotte area in the Hall of Fame, and we've got a couple big weeks coming. That's just the beginning. We've got so much going on in Charlotte starting next week, and having the All-Star race right here on Speed live in high definition. What a great weekend that's going to be, as well as the following, you know, the 600 week after that.
And again, the induction ceremony on Speed the 23rd, so you won't want to miss that either. Stacy Compton on the racetrack for his qualifying run. He was 8th quick. Actually, his first lap the fastest, 23.775 for Stacy Compton.
That truck was loose. Yeah, it was loose, and it's also common. Did you see it bouncing? You know, that's what these guys are dealing with. When we talk a loose or tight, the bounce will
induce that.
Yes, exactly. If you start to bounce a little bit and you're loose, you're going to bounce sideways.
Adam Alexander.
Johnny Benson currently second on the board. A couple of top 5 runs in this 15 truck, and solid again today.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those deals you better hurry up if Kyle's going to qualify right after me. So our Tundra's pretty good. I really think Red Top Auto Auction being on board and Billy Blue have given me the opportunity to come run this. So Cowboy and the guys have done a great job all weekend. Our Tundra's been pretty good. So I got to thank John Dysinger and everybody at Triad for giving us great engines and just having a lot of fun. It's all good.
Johnny Benson didn't have to sweat it out because Kyle Busch went right after him.
First lap for Johnny Sauter, and second quick, 23.165. He's the closest anyone has come to Kyle Busch. We'll see if he has anything for him on lap 2.
Boy, that momentum's a nice thing, isn't it?
It certainly is. He was confident about his truck. Said he didn't make a mock qualifying run yesterday, which means he has no idea. Like everybody else, he doesn't have any idea really what this truck's going to do. And he put it on the floorboard and drove it up to second spot. Check out those times, 2nd through 6th. Bill, 16, 17, 22, 23, 24. You're running 24, you're like 6th, and the guy ahead of you in 2nd is only running a 16. That's tight, Ray.
Hey, Mikey, I'm working on my Todd Bodine impression. I'm a lot lighter on hair now, and I got a Tootsie Bop, so we're ready to go. You said you're struggling here this weekend. Is it the new tire? Is that the problem?
I think so. We just can't get the thing to drive good. Last fall we had a tremendous truck. It was incredibly fast, really good to drive. Came back here with the exact same setup, and I can't even. Oh, hang on, Ricky, don't hit. He backed it in. Oh God. I can't even turn the wheel because right there is what happens. You end up getting down in there, it lands, and it's the wheel's so aggressive. The front end is so positive. You just can't turn on it, and you don't have that good, snug, comfortable feel. And trying to run wide open here, you can't have a feel like that. It's got to be comfortable. You got to drive off in the corner and be able to tug on the wheel, know that it's there, know that it's not going to spin out. And I think that the tires have really thrown us for a curve. The right sides are different, but the left sides have got a lot more grip. And that's why our corner speeds are so much higher, because of these left side tires. And it's really thrown us a curveball.
Well, we wish you good luck. Go get it figured out. Trouble on the track as Ricky Carmichael has crashed over in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, definitely threw Ricky Carmichael a curve.
What about old Todd Bodine doing a little play-by-play for us? He stepped in there and said, hang on to it, Ricky. Ricky couldn't quite hang on to it. That could be fixed, Phil, but they might go to a backup truck.
I would say that you can see him just gets a little bit loose. Getting him. Remember, we talked to Ricky at the beginning of the show. Very, very little practice time because of that chunk of lead falling off. Let's take a look at this again. This is real time. And he's probably running 170 miles an hour when he enters the corner. Now, by the time he gets into the outside wall, he's scrubbed off a lot of that speed, but nonetheless, you can see the damage to the back end of that monster Chevrolet.
Yeah, he was still, that thing was sideways really before he ever got down into the corner field. Like right there, he's wrecked.
Yeah.
And, his foot is on the floor when that happens. He turns in, he doesn't expect what that truck gave him, and it got away from him, hit the wall pretty hard. That will
I think it's got to bring a backup
definitely
truck
be
down.
a backup. It's hurt pretty good. You saw how hard it hit the safer barrier. Now, back in the day when there was only concrete up there, we wouldn't have even questioned what would have happened to that.
That damage would have been to the back window of that cab.
So damage to the Monster Energy Chevrolet of Ricky Carmichael, the guy fastest in qualifying at this time. Standing by with Adam.
Kyle Busch is currently on the pole, and Kyle, before your qualifying run, you were talking to Ray, and you said somewhere in the high 22s. You didn't quite get there. You satisfied with what you put on?
If it sticks for the pole, yeah, it'll be fine. But, I couldn't run wide open. I couldn't get close to it. So if I could have, it would have been down there, but I was just too loose. The track seems to be a little bit slicker right now for some reason. But, the cooler temperatures may be going faster, just causing a little bit of freeness. But overall, good effort by the whole KBM team with this Toyota Tundra. We'll take it, and if it sticks, it sticks, and we can go into races. It'll be a good starting spot anyway.
Good luck today.
Yep, thanks.
The races that Kyle Busch or Kevin Harvick have entered, they've won 75% of those races. They've done very well in the races they've entered. So we've got Kyle Busch in this one. He's on the pole. Problems, though, for Ricky Carmichael in his qualifying run. Gets loose into the wall, probably headed for a backup. Welcome back to Dover 200 qualifying continuing. The track is clean from the 4 of Ricky Carmichael. Now it's Austin Dillon's turn in that black number 3.
Well, check out the hood on that truck. They're honoring Dale Earnhardt Sr., who made this number 3 famous for RCR. This is Austin RCR, or Richard Childress' grandson, doing a terrific job in his rookie season, but they wanted a little special honor for Dale Earnhardt Sr. to honor him for his inaugural induction into the Hall of Fame here in a week or two.
Looked like that truck was a little bit tight. You could see it pushing up the hill there. That robs speed, and it also gets, you saw him blowing dust off turn 2. That gets a little bit hairy if you get too far out of the groove. Austin did a good job of hanging on to it and ran a decent lap despite the fact that he was off on his line somewhat, Phil. It looked like he didn't expect that truck to be that tight when he entered turn 1, which tight is better than loose.
Yeah, we saw loose just a few moments
right
before the commercial break.
And then we just saw tight, and we're continuing to see tight. You just can't keep that thing down. But it's a safer way to put a lap on this big old monster. You know, you challenge it loose and you can get crashed, but you challenge it tight and you can survive and still race tonight.
You know, Kyle Busch said something very interesting. He had planned on running wide open, but he realized that the truck wasn't going to let him do that, and that's why he's won so many of these races. You know, all 3 divisions, 60-some times he's been to victory lane, because he recognized the fact that I'm not going to be able to get what I wanted to get out of this truck, so let me get what I can. And right now, what he got is good enough for the pole.
Let's head back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, what a great run it was a year ago for Jason White right here at Dover. You pumped up about being back at the Monster?
Man, I'm excited about it. The truck was really good. It's the same truck we ran here last year, finished 4th. Didn't quite qualify around 12th, 13th, 14th, but in race runs yesterday, it was great. So we're excited about it today.
Todd was telling me he hasn't got a grip on the new tire. How have you adapted to it?
Well, we did a qualifying run yesterday. We weren't too happy about it, but in race runs, I mean, we could run the same speed all day long. The tire felt great to us, so we're ready.
Okay, good luck. That is Jason White. And guys, some talk down here in the garage that there may be a few different manufacturers coming up on the number 23 truck as we head through the season.
Well, we know that Jason White ran a Ford at Daytona when he sat on the pole and had a great top 5 run. But, you know, the thing I love about Jason White, he's always positive.
Yeah.
You know, whether you run into him in the garage area, whether you run into him at dinner at Red Rocks in suburban Charlotte, he's always positive, always pumped up. He's just so happy to be a part of this.
What was
Is
fun
he the new David Starr?
He is.
He always has a smile on his face, and I know David has always had a smile on his face.
What was fun was talking to him out there in Kansas. He said, I sat on the pole at Daytona, I got in the truck, I ran wide open all the way around the track, I was first. I did the same thing here at Kansas. I'm 25th or 6th. He said, I'm still Jason.
Go figure.
I'm still Jason. I had it wide open.
Now on the racetrack, David Starr in that number 81 PC Myler Navigator.
And there's our track record holder right there.
Yes.
At 22.846, so that's about a 1/10 faster than what Kyle is sitting in the pole with right now.
He was fast yesterday in practice too, guys.
He was.
And we heard Kyle say, I couldn't hold it wide open. So it was too loose. Could somebody hit the setup and maybe on their first lap realize it and try to go wide open all the way around here?
Oh, I think so. I know that's what their goals are. You can see David Starr's not going to be able to do that. He was sideways down in the center of the corner. But when they leave pit road, Phil, I bet you half these guys think, all right, I can do it. I'm going to hold it wide open. And then they run down in the corner and about spin out and say, okay, I'm not going to do it, but I tried.
And that's one thing you get a little bit of a heads up when you drive down in 3. You leave pit road, you drive down in turn 3. You're not up to full speed, but you get a little bit of an indication of what you're going to have when you get down to turn 1 the next time when you are up at speed. So if you go down into turn 3 on your warm-up lap and the truck's not underneath you, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the qualifying run.
We're starting to see
way too loose.
We're starting to see a few drivers now slowing down on their second lap. David Starr, case in point, went 23.558 on his first lap, almost 0.2 seconds slower on lap number 2. So handling a big issue. See that with Ricky Carmichael. Welcome back, Timothy Peters in the strutmasters.com race truck. Now on the track here for his qualifying effort. He is our point leader by 22 points ahead of Todd Bodine.
Oh, he's wiggly too.
Yeah, they've all wiggled.
Yeah, look
Every
at him
single
drive that.
one of them.
He had his hands all over the wheel of that thing. Looked like he carried a lot of speed despite the fact he was sideways. Yes, up to the 7th spot.
See the Autism Speaks puzzle piece on the hood of that truck, as well as the B post right behind the window.
Played in a golf tournament yesterday for Artie Kepner, raised a bunch of money for Autism Speaks and the Delaware Autism Society.
Ooh, another big wiggle.
A lot of race car drivers and football players, hockey players all turned out to support Artie's event. What a great event Artie hosts.
Timothy Peters shuts it down after 7th quick, and he slowed down 0.4 of a second on his second lap, right?
Elliott Sadler was on the NASCAR Race Hub with us yesterday, and you said you can almost hold it wide open. You're going to be able to in qualifying?
I think you're going to have to be on the front row. These guys are giving me a great truck. The Insignia truck was fast yesterday, really good race trim. Just had to get used to qualifying these things. I hadn't been in a cup car up here for so long. Now you run these things wide open around there. So we think we got the truck in pretty good shape. We learned some stuff from Hornaday going out early. So we changed our air pressures around a little bit and go out there and give it a run, see what happens.
And guys, I had a 1972 Duster that was about this color. I think it's chartreuse green. I'm pretty sure you won't miss the 2 truck. Adam?
And Ray, the Monster Mile does in fact bite. Just ask Ricky Carmichael. Back-to-back days of bad luck. What happened in the qualifying run?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. Back-to-back days. Just you know, we lost pretty much everything yesterday, and made a couple laps of second practice, and didn't get to make a mock run, and that's huge for me. You know, not having the experience, and especially a track like this. I mean, it's a fine line everywhere with this place especially, and just went off into one, and we changed a few things on the truck to make it a little better for the problems we were having. Just a little bit of practice we got yesterday, and the rest was history. I think everybody's seen it. So, you know, everything is so important, you know, in this kind of racing, and especially for me. And you know, that's what we always try to make it a point to do a mock run. Just it's a little bit of a confidence booster, and I know what I got. So, unfortunately, you know, I could have slowed down, but at the same time, you know, the competitiveness in me, you know, you want to get all you can get, and I mean, I didn't even have a chance to really save it. So just disappointing, but you know what? That we have to be resilient. I know I got a great team, and just try to make it to the end, and you know, turn this thing around. You got to.
Ricky did finish 15th in a backup at Nashville, guys.
8th quick for Matt Crafton. Saw him go out just a moment ago on the racetrack. Now it's Todd Bodine's turn on the Monster Mile.
2nd in points. What a good start to the season for Todd. He's in contention for this championship. I know that's a great feeling for Bob Germain, all those guys at Germain.com.
You see Todd not really down on the bottom of the racetrack, and I think that's a situation where he's seen all these guys being so loose, and his truck is probably bordering on loose as well, and he just don't physically want to feel like you can turn the steering wheel to get down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, you know, Phil, as a race car driver, you know when the harder you turn it to the left, if it's loose, the faster it's going to go out to the right. And so you dive down in the corner, and you very gingerly want to turn the thing down in the corner and try to give it as much room as you can to keep that from happening. You're right. It looked like he was guarding against a loose truck. When we saw Austin Dillon, it was obvious he was pushed. He was way up high. It looked like he was holding a lot of gas in it. It just wouldn't turn. Todd looked like he was afraid to turn. A lot of times your crew chief will say, "What's wrong? It won't turn." No, I can't.
Yeah. I'm physically not going to turn the truck.
I know what will happen if I do turn it.
Todd Bodine, 9th quickest in his qualifying run of the 19 trucks that have been on the track. Again, everyone chasing Kyle Busch. Coverage of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Dover is brought to you by Herculiner Truck Bed Liners. With Herculiner, the tough comes easy.
Oh, Hercules.
And this racetrack is definitely tough. Jay White on the racetrack now for his qualifying effort. We'll see how he's able to do with the Monster Mile. The sun has come out. It's really moved the clouds out of the way, burned off that cloud cover that we saw earlier at the beginning of qualifying. Does that affect this qualifying effort?
You fancy yourself a little bit of a weather
meteorologist, I would say, yes.
Said the sun burned off those clouds.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it does. You know, we talk about this concrete surface not changing a great deal with the sun shining down on it, but it changes some. You know, if it's cold and cool and the tracks, there's no sun on it, it's gonna, in my opinion, be a little bit faster, especially, Phil, as rubber begins to get down on the racetrack. The more rubber on the racetrack, the more adversely the sun will affect the racetrack, because, you know, now it's shining down on something that's black and instead of the white surface that the concrete poses.
There's a nice shot of the sun up there in the sky. And, you know, the thing about qualifying is I think that takes a few trucks to kind of blow the track off, because the track sat overnight. They parked all the Sprint Cup haulers after the last practice for the Truck Series, as well as the nationwide haulers. So there's been a lot of dirt you know, on the racetrack that guys do a great job cleaning it off, and it doesn't seem to me like the racetrack is really getting any faster than it was at the very beginning.
No, and you know, Mike Skinner was the second guy out, and he's still up in the top 5. We saw Austin Dillon in the middle of the qualifying session get up high and blew dust out the back of his truck from some of the dirt that's been on the racetrack. So you can blow it as much as you want, but until these trucks go around the corner with those big old tires and all the downforce they have pulling it up out of the cracks in the track, you can't get it all up.
Norm Benning on the racetrack for his qualifying effort. Let's go to Ray.
Well, Rick, Adam told us earlier in the show that James Busher is back for a run at the rest of the races this season. Tell me about Dover. You excited?
I'm excited. This Wolfpack Reynolds 31 team's doing really good. This is our second race together, and you know, brand new team. So ran really good at Kansas. Came here unloaded pretty good. We had to work on it a little bit in practice yesterday to get it where we needed it, but we ended up third in practice yesterday, and hopefully go qualify in the top 5. I know there's some guys that didn't do qualifying runs yesterday, so I don't know. I'm excited. I like running up front, so I'm happy to be back.
All right, glad to have you. James Busher in the number 31. Let's go back down to the other end of pit road and double A.
One of the drivers he will be chasing, no doubt, the point leader, Timothy Peters. 7th is where you qualified, and you said it was a wild ride.
Yeah, it was a little free, but you know, everybody's doing a great job on this truckmaster.com Crescent Tools Toyota Tundra. It's again, it's a privilege to drive this thing week in and week out, but just hope Mother Nature holds off later on this afternoon and we get all 200 laps in. Hopefully we can get over there in victory lane. You know, I know Jeff experienced it here last year, but really proud carrying the autismspeaks.org on the hood. So everybody out there, go and check us out. Help us raise awareness.
Timothy talking about his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, who won here 1 year ago with young Brian Scott.
Great first lap by Elliott Sadler, 23.161. That is second quickest.
P2, great job, man. You're all good there. Great job, everybody.
Shut it off, he said. I've seen all I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I got to pick up a second. I got to pick up a 10th and a half to get Kyle Busch. I don't think so. Let's bring that truck in.
23.161. He was about a 10th and a half slower than the pole, but he's on the outside of row 1. Saturday night, May 22nd, the stars come out and the gloves come off for the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race right here on Speed. And with $1 million on the line, it's checkers or records. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race Saturday night, May 22nd, only on Speed. Mikey, you have found that elusive prize at the end of that race.
Yeah, that was awesome. 1996. Driving for the Wood Brothers at Charlotte, you know, it doesn't get a lot better than that, going to that track with the reputation, the history they have, and to be able to hold off the guys that I did that night and win the race, it certainly felt great for my team.
I spent a lot of time with Leonard Wood at the grand opening Tuesday of the Hall of Fame, and what a one of my all-time heroes anyway, and some great stories that Leonard has from his years in the sport.
Got Donnie Neuenberger on the racetrack for his qualifying effort. His 22nd quickest.
That truck's really dragging the ground, Rick. You saw a lot of sparks coming out from underneath it. That can't help the way it feels for him.
21st quickest for Donnie Neuenberger, right?
Max Pappas is climbing in the Geico Toyota. And Max, you continue to learn about stock car racing. How do you rank Dover on your list of favorite racetracks?
Man, this is a crazy roller coaster. You know, with the number 9 Geico Toyota, man, when you go through the corner so fast that, I mean, sometimes you can't really think that, you know, such a heavy car can go around the corner so fast. This is just amazing. This is definitely one of the most dramatic and one of the most intense racetrack that I've ever been.
I think those are pretty good adjectives, Adam.
Elliott Sadler getting many props from the gentleman upstairs. Michael and Phil both said this truck looked the best of all of them. How did it feel?
It felt great. It's neat working with Butch again. He was actually my very first ever crew chief from our first Cup race in 1998, and kind of picked up yesterday where we left off. But I got to thank everybody from KHI that gave me a really fast truck, and everybody from Best Buy and Insignia lettering it up for us today. It looks good. Hopefully it'll stick on the front row, but that was a lot of fun. My heart's still beating 100 miles an hour, but it was a lot of fun.
Butch Hilton, the crew chief, he won in his debut at KHI with Harvick. We'll see if he can win in his debut with Sadler as well.
Now, we had back-to-back interviews there. One guy was from Italy and the other from Emporia. That's why the dialect was.
I was going to say
slightly different.
If you notice that they didn't sound exactly alike, that's why.
But both almost similarly hard to understand.
Well, I know why Elliott was hard to understand, because his heart was beating so fast.
He was trying to catch his breath.
He was still all around trying to get his breath. And that's such a great feeling. Isn't it fun to see Elliott out of the truck having a good time, enjoying the great run he had with his team? You know, in Cup, he's been struggling a little bit, but he comes over here and gets in the truck and puts it on the front row. That's just got to make Elliott feel good.
Confidence builder for Elliott Sadler, now on the racetrack in the 0-1, Carl Long. And while Carl Long is on the clock, let's go back to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thanks, Rick. You know, it's hard to explain some of the struggles that teams go through trying to get into the Camping World Truck Series. And Chris Lafferty, you are a great example of a guy who just has to put hard work. Can you tell the fans what it's like to try to get to this level?
Oh, man, it's just so tough. I mean, racing is not what you do, it's who you are. And to make it to this level, even running in the back of the pack, just getting through the gates, I mean, it's just such a struggle. And you know, it's really the hardest struggle that I've ever had to embark on. And so, you know, I'd say to the fans, you know, the guys that are in the back, I mean, guys like me, you know, we don't pay our mortgage in order to make it out here. And you know, on more than one occasion, you know, I've come close to losing my house. So it's one of those things that guys like us, it's in our blood. This is what we do. I'd rather run in the back than not be here. So it's very tough.
We're glad to have you. And guys, he moved to Charlotte and lived out of his truck for a couple of months, just trying to save money to buy a set of tires to get to the next race.
And there's so many stories like that. It's up and down the field. I mean, we talked to the Elliott Sadlers and the Johnny Sawyers and the Johnny Bensons and people that have been, you know, made their mark in the sport and are recognized. And then we have the guys like Chris Lafferty and Chris Fontaine and Shane Siegel, who are trying to make their way in the sport. There's another guy right here, Brett Raymer, trying to make his way in that sport. And you never know when that next guy is going to come along and show something like a Carl Edwards did in the Mittler Brothers truck several years ago. And people are going to say, hey, this guy has what it takes.
Yeah, and you know, and sometimes there's rough bumps in the road. And remember Brett at Daytona, that terrible crash he had down there. But yet every week they come back and try to get something a little bit more and better. You got to really appreciate what Chris Lafferty and these guys, Brett Raymer, are doing. They want this so bad. They want it as bad as the guys running up front. They just don't have the resources to put it all together yet.
Brett Raymer, 24th quickest on his first lap. Now, there are 36 trucks here, so all will be in. It's just a matter of where they will start. That being the case, of course, with Ricky Carmichael. He had an incident in practice. He's locked into the field, being one of the top 30 trucks, actually top 20 trucks involved points-wise. 25. I'll get it. I'll just keep throwing numbers out until I get the right one. Top 25 in points. Ricky Carmichael is in, by the way.
Maybe talk more about the weather if you get lost, Rick. The weather's really something, isn't
it? It is. And the sun has come out, which is a beautiful thing. Elliott Sadler, Matt Crafton talking a little racing. Welcome back. Dover 200 qualifying continuing. This is the 28th truck to go out onto the racetrack, and it is Mike Harmon in the number 24 Ford.
Mike just about missed that corner.
Looks like he's on the gas pretty hard, though.
Birmingport, Alabama, where Mike Harmon calls home.
Then he wasn't on the gas so hard there in the middle of that corner. Must not feel good to him. See the nose floating on the straightaway, Phil.
He's definitely not one of the trucks that's coil bound, which is riding on the springs. Gets down to the corner and the truck will transfer the weight to the front and push it down. But you see how much gap there is between the racetrack and that front splitter. That's a great shot right there.
And watch that thing bind up, go down when he enters the turn. You know, that shows you that transition from the straightaway to the turn is never more obvious or evident than on Mike Harmon's truck coming down the straightaway, up in the air like that. As soon as it gets to that corner, bam, right to the ground.
26th quick of the 28 that have been out on the racetrack. And now the next truck coming out has shown some pretty impressive speed in practice yesterday. We'll see how James Busher does in qualifying and see where he can slot that truck in tonight's race.
This is probably the last cat that's got a chance to knock Kyle Busch off the pole, wouldn't you say, guys?
Yeah, he was third fastest in final practice. So James, we had a great run going at Kansas. A late pit stop relegated him to a poor finishing position, but had a great run going.
We'll see how James Busher does in his qualifying run. We go to Adam Alexander.
Matt Craft, another one of the title contenders who had an issue at Kansas to halt the momentum. Your qualifying run behind you. How do you assess your chances to rebound today?
I mean, I feel really good about it. I mean, these guys, I got to thank these guys behind me because we were not good yesterday. We weren't happy with this Menard Chevy at all, and they didn't give up. I mean, they went to work, and they, like I said earlier, they found definitely a problem with something. So it made me feel a lot better going out there to qualify to a point because I still didn't know what I had going into the first corner, and I think the first lap was the best lap, and I kind of had to feel that one out a little bit. But I think we have a really good race truck now. I really do.
Be fun to watch Matt later today.
James Busher moves up to 10th on his second lap, 23.445, the mark that he has set. Now, historically, this race has been won furthest back by Ron Hornaday when he started 15th back in 2007. So a top 15 starting position could equate into a win at this racetrack.
And we've seen upsets here. You know, we've seen some fun races at Dover in the trucks. The way these guys qualify early in the morning, and then the commitment it takes to go fast here with your foot wide open, they can't do that all day long. So sometimes you see guys that don't qualify particularly well be able to charge their way to the front, as Hornaday did back a few years ago.
One thing you will see is that 18 truck, I think, of Kyle Busch stay up front because all the guys in the garage here were talking about, not only was that truck wicked fast in qualifying trim, but it was very, very fast in race trim as well.
I remember Harvick back at Martinsville. You know, he started up front. We knew in practice he had the fastest truck, but he wasn't able to stay up front. There were so many twists and turns that he had to go through to win that darn race, and that's what these truck races are so much about. Even though Kyle Busch maybe is the favorite going into the race, people in the garage area like what he does. 200 miles at Dover is a tough task.
The case in point, as far as tough task, and you never know until the checkered flag falls, our the two most recent winners in this truck race, Scott Speed and Brian Scott, both getting their first ever wins in the truck series here at this racetrack.
And we've had 4 first-time winners here. When we go back, Scott Riggs won his first ever race here.
Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch won his first ever Camping World Truck Series race here.
Didn't Chad Chaffin too?
Yes.
Those are the two that you mentioned there, Kurt Busch and Scott Riggs. They're the only two that have ever won from the pole at this racetrack. So even though Kyle Busch has the pole position, it's going to be difficult to keep that truck out front with the competition that we have in the field. Jennifer Jo Cobb, 27th quick on her qualifying efforts. Winding down the final 6 trucks about to go. Tonight, the world's fastest gladiators clash on the concrete in Dover. But a monster is lurking, waiting to crush any hopes of victory. It's the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from Dover tonight, 8 Eastern, only on Speed. And we're setting the field for that event right now.
The 4 first-time winners, I had it all wrong.
Do you mean it's similar to who's locked in?
Yeah, with Jason Leffler and the same truck that Scott Riggs had won here with. And Chad Chaffin, we talked about Scott Speed back in 2008, driving for Bill Davis Racing, and then Brian Scott last year were the 4 first-time winners here.
Well, I bet you Jones is glad that lap's over. He came off turn 4 and about got in the outside wall.
Everybody almost lost it.
Watch Chris as he comes off turn 4. This is like the third almost.
Yeah, and he's hammering. He's dead hard in the throttle, wide open here, and then the back end kicks out. So, oh my goodness!
And by the way, that was his fastest lap, 24.203. That slots him in the 22nd spot. Right.
Hey Rick, lots of drivers told me they got about 50 laps on a set of tires. Tim Andrews, you got 2 laps in practice. What'd you learn?
Well, we learned we got a lot of adjustments we had to make with the truck. It was dragging the splitter a lot and needed some little different shock adjustment to the front. But I love Dover. I've got a lot of laps around this place. It's a lot of fun.
All right, 2 laps in practice, 2 in qualifying coming your way for the 95. Let's check in with Adam.
Ray, we've talked on a couple of different occasions on this show about the fact that James Busher is now back full-time in the Camping World Truck Series. Welcome back. Not quite as quick in qualifying as you were in practice. What was the difference?
Truck got looser. I guess the track's heating up and it sat overnight, so the track changes overnight, and we missed it a little bit. I thought we were going to be a little bit better than that. We slowed down about a tenth or so from practice. So I don't know. I think we got a good race truck when the race starts, and try to run with these guys, run up front, and be there at the end of the race. We ran up front all all day at Kansas, and ran out of fuel at the end. So if we can just capitalize on running good, then we'll get a good finish this afternoon.
Good to have you back.
Thank you.
The Geico Toyota of Max Pappas in the 14th spot.
I think that was a very conservative run because I thought that truck looked pretty good.
Yeah,
I think
right.
Max just wanted to make sure he kept the truck under him. It's top 15, long race. He's trying to just gain experience, and he's getting better and better each and every week, driving the Geico Toyota Tundra as well as the Camry on the Cup side.
You know, you talked to Jason White before he qualified. He said, we'll be 12th or 13th, I think, when it all shakes out, but we know we can run with him. Where's he at right now?
He's 13th. How do you know that?
How does he know that?
Kyle Busch said he was going to run faster than he ran in practice, and he did. How does he know that?
Well, that's an easier guess than guessing you're going to be 12th or 13th out of 36 trucks.
It's like,
all right, I'll give that to you.
It's like the way you know the weather. Holy cow.
Chris Lafferty is hanging on right now.
I believe I'd hang on at a little bit more conservative pace because he's in the show and he's going to crash if he doesn't slow down. That should have proved to him there that he doesn't need to be messing with this truck anymore.
And remember now, these trucks will be impounded until the race later on today, and very, very minor adjustments will they be able to make, and it looks like Chris may need some major adjustments.
They might have to take a big swing, and we're also seeing a little bit of the overflow from the radiator. This one overheating a little bit. That's at the base of the windshield over on the left side as we look at it now, the right side as he sees it.
That's a great shot right there. That Steve keep coming out.
Man, hanging on to that race truck.
I don't know about Chris, but I'm glad that qualifying run is over, personally.
Takes a lot.
Chris Lafferty was locked in. He's 30th quick.
Takes a lot to convince Chris that this truck isn't well. He's like, I think I can get this thing squared away, but
they had to throw a checkered flag at him to get him to stop.
Look at that. Holy cow, that's so scary. Everything goes to the bottom here.
Yeah, he would have hit that inside wall. If he loses that truck, there's no question about it. And thankfully, they've put a safer barrier on the inside, so as well as the outside walls in the corners.
We'll have Adam go down and tell him that, oh, by the way, this is a 200-lap race. That was just 2 laps of qualifying, Chris. Qualifying wrapping up when we come back. Speed presentation of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Dover is brought to you by the Sponsifier. Visit ToyotaRacing.com and click on Design It, enter it. And by Camping World. The Camping World Destination Recreation Sweepstakes is back and better than ever. Camping World is offering more prizes and more chances to win. Log on to campingworld.com and enter today. Final 3 trucks of qualifying for the Camping World Truck Series. And again, our race this evening getting kicked off with the setup show presented by Polaris at 8 o'clock with Chris Devoda, and the green flag will fall just after that at 8:30. As we see Chris Fontaine 26th quick in his qualifying effort.
Chris is going to make his 3rd start of the year. Had a 17th place finish earlier this year at Atlanta.
And he ran really well at Atlanta too. I like the way Chris's truck looked just then. Not a lot of speed, but it certainly was very clean looking and looked like it's something he could race. Whereas some of the other guys we saw looks like they're going to need a lot of work before they're ready to race.
And I like the fact that he recognized, as well as some of the other guys, that hey, there's 36 trucks here for 36 spots. Let's don't take any unnecessary chances and tear something up. Let's work with it, get whatever lap in we can get comfortably, and then we've got 200 laps this afternoon.
Yeah, I think that's real smart, Phil. Like you noticed in Max Pappas's truck, he had a truck that looked very solid. He is solidly in the field, but there wasn't any sense in taking crazy chances because he knows that he's here to learn. He's trying to build on something so he can transfer what he learns on this track over to his Cup car that he's going to try to qualify later on this afternoon.
Shane Sieg 27th quick on his first lap, 24.48 8.8. Let's preview a bit of what we're going to see later on today or this evening in the truck race. Now, we've heard guys talk about putting about 50 laps on their tires, but a fuel run could be upwards of 80 to 85 laps. So are we going to see this thing get a little bit crazy once we pass that 50 lap mark with tires?
I think because of all the rubber that will be put down, by the Cup cars and the Nationwide cars practicing, then I think those tires are going to last that long. In the past, we've come here and worn out tires in 25 laps. By the time the race came around, we were able to get a full fuel run in. NASCAR actually gave these guys an extra set of right side tires for this race, so they will have a little bit of insurance in case something happens and they have a problem with the right side tire. But I believe, and the way everyone talks, I talked to a couple guys, they said, hey, my fastest lap, Michael, was on the 40th lap on my tires.
And we've not heard of that here at Dover. Usually once you get 8-10 laps on your tires, it starts heading the other direction. That's why this race this evening is going to be so interesting, to see how long these fast speeds hold up, and can they indeed run their fastest lap 30-40 laps into the race. Because Phil, when that's the case, then tire strategy becomes a part of the equation. Do I get 2 tires? Do I stay out late in the race?
Like Brian Scott did last year and carried himself to victory.
And Scott Speed, the year before, he had tire strategy that helped him get the lead, and then once he got there, he held it. So these guys have a lot to think about how this race will play out later on this evening.
This is the final truck to qualify for tonight's race. Tim Andrews, 27th quick.
He didn't get a lot of practice yesterday and got his truck solidly in the field, up in the 27th spot so far. He might learn a little bit on that first lap, see if he can give it a little more gas.
Well, he had 2 laps of practice.
Crosses the finish line, 24.190. That bumps him up to the 23rd starting position. That means Kyle Busch will claim his 6th Truck Series pole in his 73rd start. It's his first truck pole at Dover, and this will be his 6th start in a truck at this racetrack. So Tim Andrews rolls onto pit road, and that one will roll up to the front of the grid. Dover 200 qualifying has completed. And welcome back to Dover International Speedway. Qualifying has concluded, and for the second time in 2010, Kyle Busch has won the pole, and that's the second pole for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Let's hear from him. He's with Ray.
Well, Rick, it wasn't an 80 as Kyle predicted, but it was fast enough to get the pole. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Ray. We were a little bit too loose. I figured if we were right, we could have run an 80, but all it took was a no today. So, we're pleased with that. We've got a really fast Toyota Tundra, so real proud of Eric and all the guys. They've done a nice job. So, hopefully we can just take this good starting spot and keep it up front most of the race, hopefully all the race, but especially the last lap, lead that one and try to get out of here with another win.
It appears to me, Kyle, that with these new tires, strategy could be completely different today.
It could be. It's hard to tell exactly how the wear is going to play out, but it seems like the tires are keeping under us pretty well, so we won't go through as many maybe as we went through last year and had the problems that we had last year. So Goodyear's done a nice job with the tire that we've got here. It seems to be somewhat similar to what we ran here last fall, and Nationwide and Cup, we didn't see any issues there. So hopefully the trucks here, for as fast as we run through the corners, there's a lot of force on these tires, especially at this high-banked concrete racetrack. So, with the monster coming out, hopefully, it'll be a smooth day.
Top of the list all day yesterday in practice, at the top of the list again today. Kyle Busch wins the pole at Dover. Let's check in with Adam.
Eric Almirola will be one of the drivers chasing him later today here on Speed. You qualified 7th, entered 3rd in points. So how do you feel about how things have gone the last couple of days?
I feel good. We wanted to qualify better than 7th, but our truck is really, really, really good in race trim yesterday. All the guys, Richie Water, all the guys on this Graceway Pharmaceuticals Toyota Tundra have been working their guts out back at the shop, just trying to get back to basics. We got off our game a little bit the last 2 weeks at Nashville and Kansas, and struggled a little bit, but to struggle and still come home with top 10s, we're proud of that. But we went back to our basics. They've had a good baseline here at Dover the last few years, so we came back with that, and right off the truck, we were really fast. So I'm looking forward to the race today. Hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate, and we'll get this race in. And you never know. This place is tricky. It could jump up and bite you in a heartbeat. So we just got to be safe and play our cards right today, and hopefully at the end of the race we'll be there.
Mr. Consistency starts 7th this afternoon.
And I mentioned a couple earlier names, guys, that have got their first win. Eric Almirola could be another one to get his first Truck Series win. How about Elliott Sadler? Maybe
Certainly.
getting his first Truck Series win.
What an impressive run that was this morning for him. Qualified second. Truck looked really solid. It'd be fun to see how Elliott handles 200 miles here on the Monster this afternoon.
Again, the race this evening getting kicked off with the setup at 8 o'clock. This is how they will start. Kyle Busch and Elliott Sadler are going to bring the field to the green flag.
How about our most recent winner, Johnny Sauter, back in row number 2. Johnny Benson, who's won a nationwide race here, always runs extremely well here. And how about row 3, Skinner and Hornaday?
Check out Mario Goslin starting back in the 17th spot in the TireMonkey.com truck. Stacy Compton, Brett Butler. Tim Andrews got a couple laps in practice and was able to put his truck up in the top 30.
Ricky Carmichael again having problems in qualifying. He will start in the final row. Matt Crafton, can he get back on track and get back to victory lane after his teammate has had such great success in the Truck Series as of late? Stay with us here on Speed. Coming up next, it's the Sprint Cup practice, and then they will qualify at 3 o'clock. Trackside at 7 o'clock, and then things get underway for the Camping World Truck Series with the setup presented by Polaris. Chris Devoda bringing you all the information at 8 o'clock, and then 8:30, the Dover 200.
Got a little bit of cup practice coming up after our next commercial break, and that's going to be exciting.
Everything is exciting when you come to the Monster Mile. Thanks.